The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to the Healing Light Podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Greenglass. Join me as I explore the world of spirituality, holistic practices, alternative healing methods, mysticism, the paranormal, and the unexplained, plus more. New episodes are available every Tuesday at 7 Eastern Standard Time on Spreaker or wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, you are listening to Healing Light Podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Greenglass. The Healing Light Podcast is available for download every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on such apps as Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker, and most other podcast apps. I would like to thank the Paranormal Buzz Radio team, Shay, Deb, Allison, and Rebecca. You support me 100%. You are the best team ever. I'd like you to send me your show ideas or the guests you want to hear from. I'm also looking for guests to interview. Look for me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Lemonade, and YouTube as the Healing Light NH. Thank you for listening. So I wanted to talk about my spiritual journey. I don't always share. I make it I vow never to talk about politics or religion. Back in my day, those were kept very private and you didn't discuss them. But it's important for me, if I want my story to be told about my trauma as well as my how I became a spiritual healer, to talk about my spiritual journey and what that is all about. So I'm not talking about religion, organized religion. I'm talking about your spirituality. And a lot of people will say, I guess, this might be true, but I feel it's kind of old and outdated, is that I'm spiritual but not religious. For me, I embrace spirituality and the unknown. I believe in the power of energy. There's energy everywhere, and I believe there's an energy from God. I refer to the higher power, however you want to call, as the universe. I just figure it's always, listening, and sometimes it has disappointed me, but it's also made things happen in my life. So, plus I manifest a lot through the universe. So I firmly believe, in the universe. So that, if you had to come up with a God, Allah, whatever. But before I get really too deep into my spiritual journey, my beliefs, let me talk about where I've come from, where I started. So growing up, when I was younger, religion was not, my family and I did not belong to a church. We did not attend services, except when I was really little, my mom did become a member of the Unitarian Church. That's the all-welcoming, and it's sort of on the level of like a congregational church, but definitely you look into Unitarianism, it's a really neat concept. But what I remember from that, going to church, was me being downstairs in the playroom and playing with toys down there while my mother was attending the service. I'm not sure why she didn't bring me into the service. I find that very interesting. You would think if you want to, have your children follow your beliefs, or at least get exposure to your beliefs, that you would want to bring them into the service with you. But, I don't know. I've never asked her. It's never been a problem for me. And God was not talked about in our house. Prayer, we didn't pray before each meal. I didn't say my prayers before bedtime. It's not that I was a disbeliever or we weren't disbelievers. It's just religion was, the way I look at it, I think that it was my mother's way of letting me make my own decisions. She didn't force anything upon me at all. I mean, we celebrate, and I still do, this Christmas, Easter. We also do Thanksgiving and 4th of July. But, we still celebrate those holidays. So there is some aspect of Christianity in my beliefs as its root. Now for the bad part. So this is a little hard to talk about, but in my household, my stepfather, who was abusing me, I could hear him when he was in the tub taking a bath alone, and he was listening to the Billy Graham crusade on full blast. And to me, having to hear religion and then the sexual assault and abuse afterwards really turned me away from God and religion. I just thought, such a hypocrite, completely opposite. Not a good Christian. Don't consider yourself a good Christian because you're actually a monster and a predator. So there was that aspect. So I think I had that seed. Not an atheist, I never considered atheism. I mean, I'm a believer in science, don't get me wrong, and we'll get further into that, but my spiritual journey did not have the greatest start. And it'd be interesting to hear, if you want to send me a message or whatever you want to let me know what your experiences was with spirituality or religion and how you've evolved. And if you've really had a complete revelation and your spiritual journey has turned your life around or whatever, and you have a dramatic story to be told, or a profound story, I should say, then message me and maybe I can have you on as a guest. Anyway, so that was what I was exposed to. But I did have friends who did attend church. One of my best friends when I was little was Becky Hope. And I really wish I could find her. We lost touch. It happens with friendships. They develop. Things happen. Now, I didn't know what it was at the time, but they were evangelical Christians. Oh, yes. Evangelical Christians, born again, saved, etc. But to me, they weren't in your face about it, and they weren't harsh about it. They read the Bible, they read from the Bible, but they didn't talk about that you're going to go to hell for sinning if you don't repent. None of that. It was happy. It was joyful. It was fun. She welcomed me. I had a really rough childhood, and she was the one, and I don't know if her parents sensed this, but they welcomed me into their family. It was a refuge. And so I would attend services with them. And again, there was lots of singing. And then I was part of the youth group. And it was called Awana. And it was All Workmen Are Not Ashamed. That's what it stood for. And we would go on bus rides. We would learn songs, all sorts of religious songs, but they were fun, they were peppy. I believe it. We put on concerts for the church adults, but I think Becky and I were two bullied, lonely souls, and we were looking for something that made us happy. Becky was bullied a lot. I was picked on a lot, and that was her refuge, and I was her best friend, and we spent all our time together. And that was a lot of fun. There was no indoctrination, not like it is, but I feel some of it is today. And then as I got older, we drifted apart, unfortunately. And then as I got older, I met one of my best friends was Taryn Wren, and Taryn is Catholic. I did not attend services with Taryn or his family, but they were very nice people. Again, they welcomed me into their home. Taryn and I would camp out back in a tent and get in trouble. And his mother would threaten to make us go in the house the night because we were being so loud. But those were good times. But there was no, I don't know, there was just no, again, it wasn't the bad side, you're going to hell, anything like that. I didn't see them with a Bible or anything like that, but I don't think they went to service every Sunday, but I think they went when it was important, or on a holiday, whatever. I don't remember them really going to church. So anyway, so I had that experience, and then in high school, I met Jim Hansen, and he and I were high school sweethearts. He's gay too. I was gay. We were both in the closet, but we didn't realize that we were gay. We never were intimate, just normal, whatever stuff. Anyway, he was what I call a good Catholic boy. Church, religiously, pardon the pun, every Sunday, and he took communion. And I actually went to a few masses with him, and all I just remember, I'm sorry to all Catholics out there, they were really boring. They were long services, and the only thing that I got from that was the sign of the cross. I could do that. I would do that, and greet. How you turn to people and you shake their hand and you greet them, and I mean that was really nice. But I didn't really have any associations with the Catholic religion. Now, there was someone on my abuser's family. They were more of, I guess they went to a non-denominational church, like a congregational church. And I remember, I don't know where I was, maybe it was a christening, I don't know what it was. But I remember going up to the pastor, and I asked the pastor, who owns this church? Oh boy. That just... So he started off by saying, well, nobody owns this church. The people own this church, the people who attend. And then he went on about, I don't remember, God or whatever. And I was like, okay. I remember with talking to Jim about his Catholic faith, that I remember I asked him if priests were allowed to go eat at Burger King. I don't know. I just thought priests were these quiet, private individuals. I didn't think of them like they could be normal people, watching TV or, going out to eat at Burger King or McDonald's or going to Pix. I just never saw that. I only saw them in a church service or at a wedding or christening. And someone in Jim's family had a wedding, so I went to a wedding mass. I'm sorry, Jim. It was awful. It was so long, and it was so boring. Catholicism to me just seems very somber. I know that, again, it's with the whole confess your sins, and I know that there's midnight mass for Christmas, and my brother is a devout Catholic, and I know he goes to church probably a few times a week, and he posts about his church and all that, and it's fine, but he accepts me for who I am. He doesn't talk to me about sin. He accepts me as a lesbian, and he knows that my beliefs are not his, and he's fine with it. So I did once I had a friend, and I don't even know who this was, but I went to a Baptist service, and wow, any new members here? I'm not a member. I raised my hand. Oh my goodness, Caitlin. And they were so nice, welcome. It was fun. They were singing and dancing, and it was just, I don't remember them lecturing either, but, but for me, a lot of it, honestly, I got exposure to a lot, but I saw religion in a negative way. I was being abused, and supposedly God is benevolent and sees all, but I couldn't figure out, and I still kind of struggle with people who say God, how I had my horrible childhood, and my wife has ovarian cancer, and kids die, and kids get sick, there's earthquakes, the 2 plane crashes recently, and yet there are serial killers who have been on this death row for over 30 years, alive and well, and there's sociopaths who are out there who have no health issues whatsoever. So I was really skeptical. And then with the Catholic Church, when there was they were all being sued for all the priests who were abusing kids, and they stood back and let it happen and transferred priests and pushed them off on other congregations. It soured me to religion. I thought, that's not right. So how can you call yourself a godly person and yet allow this to happen? You did not think of children and love and all that. And the televangelicals, I'm sorry, I know people love Joel Osteen, they do. I don't get it. From what I do understand is that you are supposed to collect from the church, and I know priests and monks are supposed to do this, and other churches, you're supposed to give a lot back to the community, charity. You give a certain amount, and it goes to charity. And I know you have to maintain churches and they still have to pay electric bills and all that stuff. But for Joel Osteen to have this multi-million-dollar, tremendously huge mansion and drive fancy cars, that's someone's 90-year-old grandmother giving, $25 out of her monthly Social Security income that could go to food or her medicines. It just happens that people are vulnerable, they've gotten scammed. Really turned me off. And again, other churches who have turned their back to abusers, physically, domestic, men who beat women, turn their blind eye to that. Stay with your husband. You can't get divorced because you're religious, because your religion forbids it, and having a woman to stay with a man who is punching her on a daily basis just was, to me, just so wrong. It's just so wrong. And then the rejection of the gays and lesbians and trans and those folks, people like me, because they always love to quote, I don't even know what the verse is in the Bible about man shall not lie with man or whatever. And I feel that there are people who pick passages in the Bible, yet they don't, and I don't understand the Bible either. I would love to take a class but I know it would be a lot of classes, but I like to understand the Bible a little bit more. Now, I follow this guy on TikTok, and I'm going to space on his name, Dan something. But he is a Bible scholar, like, big time. This is all he does, and he knows his stuff. He's a professor, he's taught, and what he does is he takes Bible. He'll take, when people make videos on TikTok about their beliefs of the Bible, and they will talk about what they interpret from the Bible. He goes into great detail about the history and the symbolism and all that. So he makes a lot of sense to me. So I feel that if you're, from what I understand, you're supposed to follow the teachings of Jesus. And hell was invented not in the Bible, but from what I understand, it was, written like Dante's Inferno, came from Dante's Inferno, which I had to read. Oh, God, another long book. Anyway, I'm not going to get into debate, so don't even debate me, okay, about Bible passages and if I'm wrong, because I know I'm wrong on a lot of things, but I'm only wrong because I'm not educated. So don't come after me. Anyway, so I've had a real skeptical belief in, thought about religion and what it all means. And yet, so how I developed over the years was realizing my gift. Honestly, it's my gift. My father introduced me to tarot cards when I was very young. And when I touched them, I could feel the energy from them. And then I would get messages from, whoever was above about from the universe. And I could pick up on that energy. And I did start to pray when things got really bad. I tried not, I didn't want to, again, I just associate prayer with strict religions, but anyway, so, and still traumatized, by the way. So, all right, so my spiritual journey, I feel, is ever evolving. So I promote healing and the power of the universe, like I said, God or goddess. I believe in my spirit guides as well. I have a few spirit guides. My mentor, Mary, in a session told me that Mother Mary was one of my spirit guides. My grandmother, I consider her a spirit guide because she's visited me. My father was one. Saint Germain, because he's all about manifestation and the violet flame, if you ever look into that. Who else? Athena is one of my spiritual guides, and Buddha, definitely Buddha, and Ganesh, because he is for prosperity. So I do take quite a few aspects. So I would say that I take majority of my spiritual beliefs from the Wiccan religion. Some pagan, I do like to honor the witch's calendar, the wheel of the year. So I do have an altar. I have a lot of items on my altar. I have a chalice. I have Buddhas. I have Mother Mary. I use I have sage for smudging. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna be honest, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way. I might get some heat for this, but I don't like the smell of sage burning. To me, it's really heavy, makes me sneeze, and it smells too much like pot. But I use Palo Santo a lot. I use that. That smells better to me. And I also, from Etsy, got a lavender bundle. So when I'm feeling really stressed out and need just to be perfectly calm, I use my lavender. And I have a singing bowl, Tibetan singing bowl. I have my candles, because I do candle magic. I have my bell to clear the space. So, and I have my crystals, and I have my selenite wand. So I light my Palo Santo. I also have my crystal grid, so I light my Palo Santo. I smudge myself. I smudge the grid, the grids, my crystals, my spirit guides, and I just ask for peace, for everyone to be safe, and let's have a good day, good interactions with my customers. Help Shelley fight her cancer, And I do also write down what I want to manifest. Eventually Shelley and I want to get our own house. We share a house with her sister and her boyfriend, and they're wonderful people, but we'd like to be out on our own. So I put that. Of course, I put, cure Shelley's cancer, or, go into remission. Of course, it's like number one. And I do this every day, and I put the selenite wand over me. So I think there's a word that I looked it up. If I had to label it, it's called, I hope I get this right, syncretism, or some people call it omnism. So that's people who take key elements, or I take the positive elements of different belief systems and incorporate them into my belief. So that's where I think the spiritual but not religious does come into play. I mean, I'm going to get this wrong too, but I was exposed to Muslim religion because I had a kid who I work with who had to eat every day before sundown, and he had to pray, and all that. He had to pray a couple times a day. And I think I was watching some show, or looked it up about Muslim beliefs, that people do have to atone for their actions when they pass over. And I firmly believe that. I don't believe there's a hell. I do believe there's a form of heaven. Definitely the Rainbow Bridge for my animals. It's just some things have happened. But I developed my mediumship skills, so I do help people when they hear messages from loved ones who've passed. Always love tarot cards. I'm always a tarot card person, oracle cards as well, and let's see what else. And my Reiki practice is not religious whatsoever. It is not. It's meant for all religions. Everyone has Reiki energy inside of them. I am attuned to be the vessel, what my mentor calls the hollow bone, to bring out that energy in your body and rebalance your chakras and help you manifest. So Reiki is part of my belief system, but it's not religious. There's nothing in there that would even remotely be against anyone's religion, But I understand that I have a friend who said she got some heat when she joined a yoga class, and that's not religious either. So anyway, from what I understand, that there are some people who, in their religious traditions, they feel that what I do is not beneficial because they feel like I only take certain parts of it and not the whole, and it kind of dilutes it. So I feel I'm honoring different religious practices because I'm finding common ground in different religious practices. It feels natural to me, and it makes sense. And so when I feel that, and it's ever evolving too. So, with every event in my life that happens, I might question my beliefs, but I go back to it, and I go to what I feel and what I know is in my heart. So, and my wife, by the way, is Jewish, so we honor her holidays and all that. And so, I incorporate, the Judaism into my life. So, like I said, I found, I've done my research as well, but I am by no means an expert, as I said. So please don't come at me. And don't tell me to, I'm going to go to hell, because I don't believe in hell. And it's not very Christian-like or, religious-like to wish harm on someone because, they don't believe the same as you, or they're a man who happens to love a man, or there was a woman who was born male at birth. I just don't even come at me with that. And it's going to be another show about welcoming the LGBTQ community. So I found a lot of ground. I don't need to attend a service. I don't even need to attend a Unitarian, but maybe someday. I'm open to it. I don't really feel I need to attend a service in order to practice. I guess I am what you call a lone practitioner, and I import my belief into my practice with the tarot and Reiki, and I am all about energy and healing. So mine is not a religion-based practice. I practice on clients of all faiths, and and political beliefs, because your politics does not enter. You're not going to talk about politics for me, and you're not going to talk, like I said, you're not going to tell me to go to hell or trap me into, doing a reading for you and saying it's against what you believe, because whatever. Then why are you here? Anyway, not being mean, just saying, things like that have happened. So I practice on clients of all faiths, and I don't try to imprint my beliefs on anyone else either. I don't say this is what I believe and this is how you have to believe. I think that if you do that, and even with supposedly welcoming religions, then that doesn't show that you're spiritual either, because we're in a diverse world. We have diverse cultures, and we need to respect that other people have different beliefs than we do. I'm not harming anybody, and if you're not harming anybody, then why have a problem? I mean, I could go more into politics and religion and all that, but I won't, because it's coming up on 30 minutes and I have to end this. So anyway, that's my spiritual journey, and those are my spiritual beliefs. And what I will say is, as I close my circle, as it were, after I light my Palo Santo and do my intentions, and and after I honor the moon cycles, is I bring my sound bowl, and I say, and so it is. And to close the circle, I ring my bell and say, so mote it be. So anyway, if you have any thoughts, please pass them along. Like I said, I'm not on X. I deleted that account for personal reasons. I am on Blue Sky, but I'm never on there. I need to get on there a lot more. And Caitlin Greenglass on Blue Sky, but the Healing Light NH everywhere else. And just message me. I can take the heat. If you're going to come at me, I always say this: if you're going to disagree with me, you're not going to argue with me, and you're not going to insult me. So, I've heard it. Trust me, I have heard the name calling. I've heard it all. You don't surprise me, but I don't have to tolerate it anymore. So anyway, I will wish you a wonderful day. So this will be on Tuesday's episode at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which is February 4th. And again, look for me on social media, and I welcome show ideas. I welcome feedback, good or bad. And thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful day.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.